Hello and welcome to another episode of Box Truck. I'm your host, Matt Brady. Joining me, as always, is Tiffany O'Malley. Tiffany, how are you doing today?
I am great. It's a great day for Pokemon.
It's always a great day for Pokemon. Yeah, so Tiffany and I both watched Pokemon Origins, which came out a couple years ago, and it was a 4-episode anime. And it's basically a retelling of Red and Blue. But rather than if you watch the actual Pokemon anime, this one is more in line to the game. It even has like a start screen, and a lot of the dialogue is taken from the game, which is like freaking hilarious.
I loved it.
when they like fill it in.
Yeah.
It's 4 episodes, but if you just go on YouTube, you can find the whole thing. You can just find the whole thing right there. It's like an hour and a half, I believe. The 4 episodes are, the first episode is like Brock. The second episode skips to Lavender Town. The third episode is to Giovanni, and the 4th episode is the Elite Four and then Mewtwo. They definitely take some liberties at the very end. We'll get to all of that, but yeah, it's definitely awesome, definitely worth watching. So Tiffany, I have a ton of notes going like all throughout this, but I guess first we'll just kind of do like initial thoughts.
Okay. So when I was watching it, I guess I didn't realize that it was actually like a real show that was like on, right? Like it was
I think it was like a special. It was like
right.
It was only 4 episodes. Yeah.
So when I was going into it, I was thinking it was like fan made until I dug a little deeper.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I guess I didn't realize because I was like sitting there with Marty and I was like, this is the best fan thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, how are they able to use all these names? What's the copyright? I was dying. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's not a fan made thing.
Nope.
Which I'm sure they're out there and I'm sure they're great. But so like you said before, when it like pulled directly from the game, like especially the beginning and everything that Professor Oak says, I was like, oh my gosh, the nostalgia was real.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been happier. So as far as initial thoughts go, I loved every second of it and I want to watch it again.
Yeah,
once isn't enough.
Yeah, I've seen it, I think 3 times.
Yeah, you're going to know it a lot better than I do.
Yeah, every time is better. There's just a lot of lines, and we'll get to them. I have them all written out. But yeah, it's really good. It's definitely worth watching. The characters are Red and Blue instead of like Ash and Gary. But so it's not like the actual Pokemon anime, because the way the Pokemon anime tells like the story of Red and Blue, first of all, is like 80 episodes, and like before they get to the other regions and stuff like that, and it's super long, and like Team Rocket is much more like comical in the regular Pokemon anime, whereas they're a little more like like henchmen like and kind of jerks, especially in the second episode.
Yeah,
man, the feels. We'll get to that. But yeah, so okay, anything else on initial impressions before we just kind of start going through it?
The whole Marowak and Cubone thing, man.
Yeah, we'll get to that. The feels.
The feels are real.
Yeah. Okay, so I just have a lot of notes going like the plot summary of it and just things I picked up like going on, and a lot of these things are like kind of Pokemon based, just like in general. Let me see. First thing I have written up starts off like the game, much closer to the game than the anime, which just kind of that a lot of lines taken from Red is our main character, and it starts off and he's watching like a battle, like he's watching Gengar versus Nidoran, which like in the intro to Pokemon, like when you first turn it on, you can see those two battling.
Yep.
Yeah, so I
thought
so
cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So then he goes to meet Professor Oak, just like in the game. And I wrote down a line that I thought was funny when he's receiving his Pokedex. He's like, "Science is so amazing."
Science.
Just so ridiculous. So then, just like in the game, he offers blue and red.
Mm-hmm.
3 different Pokemon, and Red's line about choosing Charmander I thought was so ridiculous. They really play up the like Pokemon needs to be your friend, and like friendship is everything in this.
It is.
Yeah, so he chooses Charmander because his dad named him Red, hoping it would help to have him passion and energy of a red hot fire, and Red hopes that he someday lives up to his name.
Love it.
So go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, when you're talking about like how different this is from like the main series show, Pikachu's not around.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. They didn't use him because Pikachu is used for literally everything, and he's not in this.
Yeah, well, he is. He's at the very, very end. I have a note about it. I can just go ahead and read it now. So after he defeats the Elite Four, he's like, okay, I'm going to go catch the rest of Pokemon, just like we did. And I literally said he didn't catch a Pikachu until after he became League Champ. WTF? Pikachu's in like the opening area.
Yeah, he is. He's in that first forest.
Viridian Forest, man. Like,
right. With all those Metapods that are just doing Harden, and it's impossible to beat them when you're level 5.
I know, they just keep hardening and then you can't do any damage, and you're like, well, I guess I better run. Like,
yeah, I know. It's like, I'm not gonna waste my time.
Other notes I have, seriously, who wants a Bulbasaur?
Oh, come on. You're so, I wouldn't choose him, but come on.
Yeah, come on, man. I always go with Squirtle.
Mm-hmm.
I like Charmander because I consider it Charizard. Obviously, Tiffany has said before that Charmander is
one of my faves.
Is Charmander your favorite, or is it Charizard your favorite?
Well, I really love me some Charmander, but you know how I feel about dragons, so
right, exactly.
Gotta go with it.
Yeah. Then Professor Oak says, "Oh, you can give your Pokemon a nickname," and he's he's like, "Nah, I think I'll just stick with Charmander." Like,
I do that every time. Do you nickname your Pokemon in your game?
No.
Me neither.
No.
I actually hate nicknames.
I do too. Oh God, like the ones you get from other trainers and they have nicknames.
Yes,
so
like Farfetch'd. What is his nickname? I can't remember.
I can't remember,
but it's awful. I gotta look that up. That's gonna bother me.
Okay, you look that up.
All right.
Also, I said Red is a fucking idiot. Like, God, the way he's just like, he doesn't know anything in like the opening of this movie. He's like battle types. Like, what? Like, so ridiculous. The fact that they use remixed music from the game instead of like just like generic music they'd use for like the movie, because in the anime they do that every now and then, but a lot of they just have like anime specific music. But this, it's all like remix themes from the games.
Yeah.
Just some other notes from the first episode. I said he tries to catch a Pidgey, he tries to catch a Rattata. He catches a Caterpie instead of a Metapod, which I thought was cool because that's definitely the way to do it. Because if you catch a Metapod, you have Harden, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then he tries to steal someone. He's like battling some guy, and he tries to like steal his Pokemon.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, it's the first guy. It's the first guy he's fighting, and he like throws a Pokeball at his Nidoran. And he's like trying to steal somebody's Pokemon. Like, it's the same.
Oh,
it's the
okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same line that's used in the game. And then Red's like, "Well, tell me where I can find one." And then he says, "Well, since you won, I'll tell you," which is another line from the game. Then the best part of episode 1 happens, where you hear the music, right? And it's your rival's music, but I have it listed here as the Gary fucking Oak music. Because as we all know, it's like from watching the anime and playing the game, like especially Yellow, where you name him Gary. Like, it's just so ridiculous. It's like, oh, you just made it all the way to the top of the Pokemon Tower, and you're like, Pokemon have like 3 health left. Well, here comes Gary fucking Oak. Like that's like that's definitely a meme on the internet.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So then we get to the blue versus red battle, Charmander versus Squirtle. And I definitely there were definitely some great lines in there, like one more time, use Scratch. Yeah, get up, hurry. And so then we see Red lose. So Red loses to Blue. And then we get that panning up shot of like this guy talking to Red. And Red's like, "Who are you?" And in my notes, I say, "I'm Brock, bitch." Like,
oh my god! But he would say that.
He would.
Like that's something Brock would definitely say, especially if you watch like the show.
Yeah.
Which I used to watch that all the time after school at my grandma's house. I remember doing that. It was the best. Oh man. And I think I said it once before on here. We're watching it a little by little in my first grade class, and they're digging it. They love it.
Good. Yeah, like Brock. I like Brock in this, where he's a little more stoic.
Yeah,
as opposed to Brock in the anime, where he's like trying to get a
hungry.
girlfriend. And he's like hanging out with Misty the entire time. It's like, how do you not?
And Misty's hot. Like, come on.
I know, but Misty clearly is into Ash, and Ash is just stupid. So
Ash isn't into anybody.
Ash is dumb. Ash is into losing, is what he's into.
Oh.
Yeah, let's see. And so then Brock says some great lines like, the strength of a Pokemon is proportional to the power of its trainer. Whoa. Hey. That's what battling Pokemon is really all about. So then we find Red at Pewter City, where he is in the Pokemon Museum, and there's some people walking around, and it's like again lines from the game. Did you hear about the gym leader Brock? Like,
I love it.
So great. And then, okay, something we need to talk about. We talked about this before a little bit, but gym leaders in Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
So the gym leaders are supposed to be the ones that teach you how to train Pokemon, and they're supposed to be like some of the best Pokemon trainers in the region, right?
Let's be real now, guys.
Let's be real. If you're that good of a trainer, why are you only using one type?
One type.
I mean, Brock.
Come on.
I know, like Brock flat out says to me, he's like, "Well, why are you using a fire type against my rock type?" It's like, well, why are you only
using rock type?
Like,
just go in there with a Squirtle or Bulbasaur and everything's over in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Yeah, Charizard is by far the hardest character to play.
It is, yeah. That's why I do it, because I'm a badass.
Yeah, Bulbasaur and Squirtle are easy. But I mean, Bulbasaur is the easiest because you fight rock, and then you fight water.
Water, yeah. Mm-hmm. So like at the beginning of the game, it's always like super hard for me because I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta catch a bunch of different types so I can, win these first 2 gyms. But if you use normal type moves, like with Charmander in that first gym, like if you just keep using Scratch, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, are you? I grind my Pokemon, like, because I like to just. I try to play the game I jokingly with like one Pokemon. Like I have my main, and I'm just like, well, I'll just level them up to the point to where I can just go in and wreck I don't care what type it is.
I like to evenly distribute power, but I mean, my original is always the strongest.
Oh, for sure.
But I try and train others up probably a little more than say you would if like you do it that way.
Right. Yeah. I think my team usually going into Brock consists of like definitely a Pidgey. I mean, so it's usually like Squirtle, a Pidgey. I usually try to catch a Caterpie because Caterpie turns into Butterfree, who's by far the best Pokemon for those first 3 gyms. Because once he gets Psychic or Confusion, he just wreck everything. Because especially in the original game, like Psychic moves just like wreck because there's so many normal. Yeah.
And then you get like the other person like stuck in the Confusion or stuck in the Poison. Poison, man. Oof.
Yeah, Poison Pokemon suck.
It's so annoying when you're poisoned.
Yeah.
Because you use an antidote, and then they're like, I'm going to use a poison move again, and then you're poisoned again.
Yep.
So who else do you have on your team?
Usually going in there, that's probably about it. I usually have, just whoever I catch. I try to catch a Pikachu in that first forest.
Yeah.
If I
always.
Yeah, Pikachu, you do have to kind of run around in order to get.
He's elusive for sure.
Yeah, you may not always get a Pikachu, but that's definitely worth getting in the Viridian Forest.
Yeah.
Are Kakunas in that forest? I always forget. Weedles, yeah, because Weedle turns into
Weedles are for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kakuna and then Beedrill.
Do you ever get a I don't know how you pronounce it, like a Rattata?
Rattata,
yeah.
Yep, you got to. I don't really like Raticate though. He's kind of lame.
No.
A lot of those early Pokemon, like they're good for a little bit. Although, there is I've talked about before in the last Pokemon episode. There is so once they started doing it to where you could add items onto your Pokemon or have them hold items.
Yeah.
There is an item that you can give a level 1 Rattata, and he can beat any level 99 Pokemon.
What?
Yeah, what it is, it's something I forget what it is, but it's something where he returns the damage. He'll still die. But it's something where he basically it's something to do with the level difference. I have to look up. I'll have to look up what it.
Yeah, you need to look it up. Look it up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so let me see what else I have here.
Can I just interject something really quickly?
Yeah, go right ahead.
And this is spur of the moment, listeners. I think we're gonna have to do a replay of Red and Blue, and I think we're gonna have to do an episode for each city, and I think it's gonna have to happen on Box Trick because this is making me Jones to play Blue.
Yeah, hey, I have Red. I
think it has to happen, Matt.
I'm down. So, do we want to do original or do we want to do Fire Red, Leaf Green?
I got the OG downloaded on my 3DS, so
yeah, see, I do too. I have Red down because I have Blue.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll do a replay. We'll talk about our story.
Oh, I'm so excited!
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Ideas, they're flowing.
And if we do it on the 3DS, we can do Tiffany and I can battle each other because you can do online battles.
We're gonna battle. We're gonna trade. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so stoked right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's keep going through this.
Okay. Right. Let's keep going through here. So yeah, there's anyway. So some other great lines from that first battle against Brock Scratch, and then they're like, it's not very effective. Nidoran uses double kick, and he's like, it's super effective. Just so great. And then Brock uses bite, and then he talks about it, and it's so great. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll skip to episode 2. So episode 2 is the Lavender Town one. God, this one's sad.
Yeah. So going through these though, when they jumped from Brock, then straight to Lavender Town, I was like, "Oh, what just happened?" Because I was like, "Wait a minute, what about Cerulean? What are we doing here?" And then I was like, "Slow down, Tiffany. They can't put them all in, but they should."
They should. I thought it was kind of funny the way they did it though, jumping in between them because he talks about what he did. He's like, oh, I got this item from a super nerd I met on Mount Moon, and then he's like, I got an old rod from a fishing guru, and I met this guy on a boat, and he did stuff, and it's just all the stuff you do in the game, all the little side quests.
Love it. Oh,
so great.
Did he get a bike? I can't remember. Did he get a bike?
I think he did. Yeah,
I think
yeah. Okay, so then we get to Lavender Town, and God, the opening to this is really weird. So he goes to Lavender Town, we see the Pokemon Tower. This I thought was hilarious because everyone's talking about ghosts, and people were like, "Whoa, I don't believe there's ghosts." There's fucking ghost type Pokemon.
You live in Lavender Town.
Well, not only that, but it's there's ghost type Pokemon that are in the Pokemon Championships. Gengar is fighting Nidoran. In the opening of the game, it's nationally televised. It's a fucking ghost type. What do you mean there's not you don't believe in ghosts? It's so dumb.
Who do you think Ghastly is? What's happening?
Yeah,
right now?
What are you talking about, man?
Oh my god, you're so funny.
It's so ridiculous. But then Professor Oak, the Pokemon professor at the beginning of the game, is like, there's only 150 Pokemon, and I've never tracked them all down. It's like, what, dude? There's 800 Pokemon now. What do you mean you haven't tracked these things down?
Technically, there's 151 in the OG.
That's true.
That's something else I had beef with. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So people said they don't believe in ghosts. Okay. So then we got to that weird part where the girl's asking Red. She's like, "Oh, like then what's that white hand on your shoulder?" And he like looks, and then he looks back, and they're gone. Like those people are gone.
Ooh.
Really weird. Then we go to the Pokemon house, which is the one where people like leave Pokemon that they didn't want.
Sad.
And the thing, we see like an Oddish, a Vulpix, and a Growler, and they're freaking cute. And who wouldn't want an Oddish, a Vulpix, or a Growler? Okay.
Yeah.
Turn into Arcanine. Turn it, freaking dumb.
Freaking.
I want
dumb.
one. I want a Vulpix because I can turn into Ninetales. Yeah.
So cute.
Then we get to they do this a lot better than the anime. Then we get to Cubone, who first of all is the saddest of all Pokemon. Because
literally.
Yeah, he is. It's really sad. First of all, the thing's super cute. He's like this little thing. He's got this little bone. God, and I just have written down here, Team Rocket, they're dicks. Hashtag the feels. Okay.
They are.
They kill the Marowak and little baby Cubones just sitting there crying.
No, mama.
I was like, Tiffany's probably bawling right now. Okay, like
it were some tears going on, guys.
Some tears. I'm sure.
That always got me in the game, like big time. I was like, what? They killed a Pokemon? They killed a Marowak? And then you're like, dang, guys. And then to see it on the screen, it was awful.
I know. The way they tell the story in this is actually really good.
Yeah. It's like
so
a flashback looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's playing the sad music. Yeah, it was heart-wrenching. Okay, so then I got this thing. I have some notes here where they're saying like, well, who's gonna go in the Pokemon Tower? Because that's where Team Rocket is, and like take care of them. And everyone's like, well, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And Red's like, I'll go. And they're like, you, but you're young. And he like opens his shirt and he's like, I have written here, he's like, I've got 3 badges, bitches. Like
I thought you were gonna be like, I'm a man, I got 3 chest hairs.
No, he's like, I got 3 badges. Okay. They're like, 3 badges. Like, oh my God. What?
Just a kid from Pallet Town trying to make it big.
Yeah, it's like, dude, he's got 3. It's like, what? Like, remember, it's like in the anime, there's the part where Gary, they were like, I don't know if they jacked it up or whatever, but like Gary has like 8 or 9 or something when he opens his like shirt. He has like more badges than there were in the thing. And like, so dumb. Anyway, so then we get to the Pokemon Tower.
No other trainers in there either, by the way.
No.
Like in the game, you have to go through. No other. What do they call them? Channelers or something like this? Yeah. Yeah,
we see the Sylph Scope. I thought it was funny that Red didn't take off his hat. He just like put it backwards to put the Sylph Scope on.
Too cool.
Yeah, and then we see Cubone. Cubone comes in, saves the day, and he starts crying. His mom, spirit passed away. I said, so damn sad, the feels.
It's interesting that he got the Sylph Scope in the tower instead of like at the hideout, because you don't see any of that. Yeah. But didn't he had it, he got it from that Team Rocket grunt, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
And then that's pretty much that episode. So then we get to episode 3, which skips way towards the end. And it's Giovanni. Yeah, so like
Giovanni, where
you fight him at the Pokemon like headquarters.
Is that
the Sylph Scope?
Fuchsia City? In the game, I'm talking.
Is it Celadon? No, I always forget the name of the cities because there's like Cerulean. Cerulean's the one where you fight Misty. Is it Celadon, the one big one, or is it Saffron City?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. They're next to each other, so
right. So he fights Giovanni. Giovanni's trying to steal the Master Ball, just like in the game. There was a funny line where it's like Blue and Red are fighting. Blue and Red are like gonna go in and take him down together. And they're talking about it and this kind of stuff. And there's a line where he's like, they're talking to the secretary. And he's like, you're actually the secretary to the president of the company, as if it's like some big fucking deal or something. I was like Ezra came out and was like watching that. He watched that line and he was like, "What?" Like just like heard like one line. I was like was laughing.
Yeah, people have secretaries. Like it's just
yeah, it was weird. Anyway, so then we get Ash versus Giovanni in this battle. Fucking hilarious. Like it's not hilarious. I mean, it's cool, it's epic, but it's just hilarious because they're really selling the whole like it's all about friendship and like treating your Pokemon right and like
gotta have a relationship. Otherwise, they don't trust you.
Yeah, I have a lot of lines written down here. Like all the other gym leaders had one thing in common: how much they loved their Pokemon. And then he's like, "You somehow knew ahead of time." Because he fights him at the headquarters, and then he fights him again at the gym.
Yeah.
At the gym, yeah. So at the gym battle, yeah. Giovanni says, "You somehow knew ahead of time that I'd be using ground type." What? You're the fucking ground type gym leader. Like it says right on the fucking gym. Like that's what it is. Like, what do you mean? That's like you somehow knew ahead of time. Like,
oh man.
Oh.
I wonder how they like decided to like put these lines in. Or they're like, all right, we need to make this for people who have no clue what they're doing.
It's so ridiculous. Then like there was a Snorlax that got hurt during the fight, and I just have a line that says, "BS, you cannot hurt Snorlax."
True.
When Giovanni's talking about like Red reminds him of himself, the burning passion back when. Then he talks about back then. Yep. He's like, I used the same stance and threw my Pokeball at the same time, like during the critical moments of battle. What? Like,
I am this kid.
Like, what do you mean you throw your Pokeball during the critical points of battle? Of course you do. Like, so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Oh, and then we got to talk about Red's Pokemon are all jacked up. Okay.
Yeah.
In this, because his Charizard is fighting Rhydon, right? His 4 moves are Flamethrower, Seismic Tox, Mega Punch, and Mega Kick. You have 3 fighting type moves with your Charizard? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, where's your fire at, dude?
Well, it's like he has Flamethrower, but it's like, dude, what? Like,
come on.
I mean, I can get like 1, like Seismic Toss, maybe, but you don't need 3 fighting type moves with your Charizard.
No, you gotta get some different stuff going on.
Yeah, especially because Charizard is fire and flying, and so
I love using Fly with Charizard.
Oh, you have to. So dumb. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much that episode. So then we get to episode 4, which is the Pokemon League and Mewtwo. Which is. Go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. So then we get Red versus he fights the gym leaders. I thought it was funny. Again, we get to that great moment where he beats Lance and he's like, "You are now the Pokemon champion." Well, you could be if you'd gotten here like 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah. Like, yep.
And then we hear, I have it just written down, Gary fucking Oak. Like the Gary Oak music. You walk back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then just some thoughts on the way they portray the battle in the show. Hold on a second. I have Red's Jolteon lost to Blastoise. WTF.
How does never have happened.
How does that work? Okay.
Let's talk about electric and water a little bit, friends.
Okay. Yeah. Especially because at the beginning they say science is so cool. Well, science tells me, just like the Pokemon types, that electric's gonna beat water. Okay. I mean.
I'm sorry.
I mean, come on, man. Like, it's pretty simple. I thought it was like foreshadowing. Okay, cool. Nope.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Blue. I said as other lines. Blue is champ for all of like 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, sucks to suck, man.
Yeah,
sucks to suck.
So, yeah, we'll get through this and we'll go back and we'll just talk about Red and Blue. I like the game for a bit and some of the stuff we saw in the thing. So let me see. Then Professor Oak shows up and says, "Blue, the reason you lost was that you forgot to treat your Pokemon with trust and love."
Oh, the essential.
Mm-hmm.
Essential to the story.
Yep. And so then Blue, and then Red goes into the Hall of Fame, and you get to see his team. And I just have a note here that says, "What a terrible fucking team, Do Trio. Who uses that Pokemon?"
I definitely don't. I
Never,
evolved
ever.
Doduo, and then I'm like, okay, you're going in the box.
Yeah, of all the Pokemon, it's like, what? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Who
terrible Pokemon.
chose that team, I wonder?
I
I
don't
wonder
know.
I wonder if it was someone who like created that. They're like, oh, this is a Pokemon I'm gonna create, you know, and then they're like, we're putting it on the team. You're like,
What?
no, that Pokemon sucks.
Like, I mean, I can get like Doug Trio maybe over Dodie or whatever I always forget that Pokemon. It's dumb. But like at least like Doug Trio gets like, you know, Earthquake and Dig and
Yeah, you get some sweet ground moves with that guy.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, see, when you go throughout a game, Pokemon have their time in the game. There are some that are everlasting, like you got your Squirtles and your your Charmanders and stuff, but then there are some that are only good for a time. And that's what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about Viridian Forest. Like Rattata is really cool for like 2 gyms maybe, and then you need to be done with it. Because
I mean, like he gets like Hyper Fang is like his best move, and like that's it. So
and then you're done.
Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah.
So then Red becomes league champ, and then we cut to the scene of like Blue's and like he's in a bed and he's all beat up, and he talks to he talks about fighting some Pokemon that wasn't in the list, and he looks through the thing, and it was just funny because they're like, well, how do you? They ask Red, they're like, well, Red, you said you caught him all. How do you explain that he's not in the thing? And I just said, yeah, Red, how do you explain it? Like in my thing.
I'm not the only person that Blastoise crushed, and he holds up his broken Pokedex. I was like, okay.
And so then Professor Oak's like, well, I guess there's more. You just wait. You just wait. There's a lot more. So they say 150 out there. So then we get to the Charizard versus Mewtwo battle. And then this was really the biggest dive from the game. So I think this came out with like X and Y, I'm guessing. Because it uses Mega Evolution, so Charizard Mega evolves. Yep. And then beats Mewtwo. Also, again, in this, Charizard's using Swift. What? Like,
yeah.
What? Why would Charizard use Swift? Like,
he doesn't seem very swifty.
No, it's also just not a move. Anyway, so so that's kind of just the big overview of like the plot summary of like what all happens in it. Some pretty like ridiculous things, but it is totally worth watching. It's really fun to just sit down and watch it. It's on YouTube, so you can watch it for free. But it came out, I'm guessing, the same time as X and Y. But yeah, I mean, if you played Red and Blue or Green or Yellow, like it's totally, it's definitely worth watching. So Tiffany, so some thoughts on it, I guess, like after you watched it and just kind of like it, reminding you of playing the game.
Yeah. I really liked seeing like the Pokemon Tower scene. That was really cool. Yeah. And that whole Marowak and Cubone thing played out. I liked meeting Brock, which was pretty cool. But I have a question. Where's Mew?
Mew shows up.
When? I can't remember.
At the very end when he catches Mewtwo.
Right.
And at the end, when he catches Mewtwo and he's remembering about reading about it and said, well, Mewtwo was created from another Pokemon. He's like, that means there's more Pokemon out there. And so like as he's getting ready to run out, there's like they show there's like a window and you see Mew fly. It's like a brief second. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. I need more Mew. You know how I feel about Mew.
Yeah. Mew's I don't really like Mew's like not that good. Like he or she can just learn like all the moves, which is cool.
I just think it's adorable.
It's adorable. Is it as adorable as Charmander?
Oof. No.
No.
No. What else did I enjoy? I wish I would have seen like more of the cities, but it was really cool to like hear those familiar like names and stuff like that. It really brings back like all your memories from playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had the Elite Four in here, right? Instead of the Elite Eight.
Like the game. No, the game's the Elite Four.
I thought it was Elite Eight.
No, it's Elite Four. There might be another game where you fight 8. Maybe in Gold and Silver. Do you still fight the same 4? in X and Y, do you fight more? There's one where you fight like 5. I can't remember.
Hold on. I gotta figure this out.
No, the Elite 8 is the March Madness tournament.
Oh my god. I'm pregnant, so.
Yep. I wasn't gonna say it, but I was like, guys.
I'm allowed to make mistakes.
That's okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, basketball's cool too.
It's coming up. It was
moving
relevant.
on. Right? That's what I was going for. It was my subtle segue into basketball. But yeah. So I don't know. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen it like 3 times. The first time I stumbled upon it once. I can't remember what I was doing or what I was looking. I just stumbled across it, and I was like, man, this is really cool. And so then I just like watched like the first episode, like, wow, this is really good. So I plowed through the rest, and then I've like forced other people to watch it since, because it's really good. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think my favorite part, as we talk a lot, I think the first episode is by far the best, just because that's the one that really, like, I don't want to say most fan service, but it's probably the truest to the game with like the lines and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny. Also, there's just a lot of just little things, like just the start, like they always like the save feature and stuff like that. Also, they beat that game in like 25 hours. Like, man, they're flying through.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. But yeah, Pokemon Origins. I just say, hey, check it out. If you haven't seen it, and you like Pokemon, it's an hour and a half that you will not regret. So
agreed, wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So okay. That's kind of our episode today. A little short. We can talk a little bit about some news. We talked about some news last week, but right now there's a lot of reviews coming out for something called the Analog SNES NT. It was made by these guys. I forget their name, but they made the Analog NT, which you could still buy, which is like a $500 NES, which I know sounds crazy, but it's like an actual HDMI out. And they're doing an SNES, and there's a lot of reviews of it on YouTube, like Metal Jesus Rocks, GameSack, a lot of the bigger YouTubers, and it's totally worth checking out. I don't believe you can actually buy it yet, but certainly for the retro gaming community, and like it looks awesome, and I think I may actually spend the $190 when it comes out.
Oh,
I might do it.
Do it
because it's super cool. Other things that are going on, I've started being more active on Twitch. I'm trying to come up with like a Twitch schedule. Tiffany joined us. We did for the Star Wars channel, we do Rebel Watch. We did a big Battlefront hangout. We're going to be doing for that channel a hangout every other Friday. So next Friday we'll be doing one. We may not always play Star Wars Battlefront. We talked about playing Destiny and stuff like that, and it's all on the Box Trick Twitch. But I'm going to start being more active on Twitch in general. Just kind of figuring it out. I've never really done it. I don't really watch a lot of Twitch, so now I'm just getting into it. It's something that like people ask a lot. When people send us messages like, "Hey, are you guys on Twitch?" So I'm gonna start doing it. I actually have a green screen. I've had one forever, so I actually have all the stuff to do it. So
meant to be.
Yeah, just meant to be. Kind of looked up some things that people are really into on Twitch. Obviously, there's a lot of games that are just big that are currently out. So Dragon Ball FighterZ is something I'm going to be playing a lot of just because I like Dragon Ball and it's kind of big right now. I guess Pokemon is a big one. A lot of people play. Like they'll replay Red and Blue or those other games, like the ones you can just play on emulators. And then they will, if you come in and comment, they'll like name a Pokemon after you if you comment. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So that's something I'm thinking about doing. So just going to be more active on Twitch. We're kind of getting ready to just blow everything up. Certainly if you check out any of our other channels, you'll know Rebel Watch is right now we're really getting it into like what we're calling full swing. And Box Trick is right there with it. Actually going to be adding with Thomas and Alan, they're going to start being a lot more active on the channel again, which is good. They're both just kind of busy with some stuff. Or Thomas and I are going to be doing a series rundown of a lot of games. We're just going to start picking series and doing those. That might be every other week.
Awesome.
So just a lot of things coming, a lot of things happening.
And if you have anything that you would like to see on Twitch, let us know.
Let us know if you want your gaming stories shared.
Yep.
Yeah, make sure to message us on the Box Trick Facebook page. We will share that. So it is big productions here with all of the podcasts and things that we all do. So
yes.
Tiffany, where can people find you on the internet?
So on the internets, you can find me on Twitter at tiffswish_flick. You can also find me on Swish and Flick podcast. We are all Harry Potter, doing a reread of the entire series. You can find me here on Box Trick, and you can find me on Rebel Watch, doing a series called A Journey Through Star Wars, starting with episode 1, breaking it down, getting deep and sweaty.
Yep, aka the best Star Wars. You can find me on the internet pretty much anywhere at Super Gains Bros. That is my Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Rebel Watch. You can find me on a podcast called Second Breakfast, a new podcast coming up called Of the People. Oh man, so many podcasts. That's what we should just call our collective group. Nope, Pacific Great Lakes Pop. Yes, so all of this stuff, we're gonna be on Twitch, stuff like that. March 5th, stay tuned. We have some big things coming then. So as always, guys, thanks for listening.